Time Machine, Volume 3. My dear companions on this winding path of inquiry, seekers of the hidden truths that flicker like shadows in the cave of existence, gather close, for I, the philosopher, speak once more from the depths of contemplation. You have presented me with this fragment, this enigmatic shard of wisdom, etched as if by the hand of some ancient oracle. Time Machine, it proclaims in its headline. And then, with the gravity of a riddle from the Sphinx again, if you want to build a time machine, first, become a bird catcher. Ah, what a provocation. What a summons to the soul's arena, where ideas clash like gladiators under the unrelenting sun. I shall not merely dissect this fragment as a scholar might carve a cadaver. No, I shall weave it into a narrative speech, a tapestry of thought that unfolds like the river of time itself. For is not philosophy the art of storytelling, where the abstract dons the cloak of the concrete, and the eternal whispers through the ephemeral? Let us embark, then, on this journey of 2,000 words or more, if the muse demands it, though I shall aim true to your request. I speak as the one who has taught you before, the voice that echoes from the agora of the mind, urging you to question, to ponder, to transform. First, let us linger on that opening word again. Oh, how it resonates. It is the sigh of eternity, the refrain of the cosmos. In the grand symphony of existence, nothing is uttered once. All is repetition, recurrence. The eternal return, as my kin in thought, Nietzsche, might have proclaimed, again implies that this wisdom has been spoken before, perhaps in a previous fragment, or in the whispers of the wind to those who listen. It is a reminder that time is not a straight arrow, piercing from past to future, but a circle, a wheel that turns upon itself. Have we not all felt this? In the quiet hours of night, when memories resurface like ghosts at a banquet, do we not say to ourselves, again, this longing, this regret? The fragment begins here to unsettle us, to pull us from the illusion of linear progress. For if we are to build a time machine, a device to traverse the dimensions of what was, what is, and what might be, we must first acknowledge that time is not conquered by novelty, but by revisiting, by the patient art of return. Imagine, if you will, a weary traveler in the deserts of Arabia, parched and lost under the blistering sun. He stumbles upon an oasis, drinks deeply, and departs, only to find himself circling back days later, drawn by some invisible thread. Again, he mutters, as the palms sway in mocking familiarity. So too with time, we circle our regrets, our joys, our unfulfilled dreams. The philosopher Heraclitus, that enigmatic Ephesian, taught us that one cannot step into the same river twice, for both the river and the stepper have changed. Yet, here, in this fragment, again suggests a defiance, a way to step not just twice but infinitely, by mastering the flow. But how? The fragment beckons us onward. If you want to build a time machine, the conditional clause, the gateway to aspiration. Who among us has not harbored this desire? In the annals of human folly and genius, the time machine stands as the ultimate hubris, the Promethean fire stolen from the gods of chronology. Think of H.G. Wells's inventor, hurtling through epochs in his brass contraption, witnessing the rise and fall of civilizations like a god detached. Or consider the physicists of our age, those modern alchemists tinkering with wormholes and quantum entanglements, dreaming of bending space-time to their will. But the fragment does not speak of gears and equations. It whispers of something deeper, more primal. To want a time machine is to confess a wound in the soul, a yearning to undo, to redo, to glimpse the forbidden. Let me narrate a tale to illuminate this. There was once a king in ancient Persia, Xerxes by name, who commanded vast armies and bridged the Hellespont with his ambition. Yet in moments of solitude, he wept for the transience of it all. In 100 years, he lamented to his advisers, "Not one of these soldiers shall live." His desire was a time machine of sorts, to freeze the moment, to extend his empire beyond the grave. But the gods laughed, for time devours all kings. So, what does our fragment propose? Not conquest through force, but through subtlety. It is not the engineer who builds the machine, but the poet, the mystic, the one who understands that time is not a mechanism to be assembled, but a living entity to be wooed. And now, the pivot. First, become a bird catcher. Here lies the heart of the riddle, the koan that demands meditation. Why a bird catcher? Birds, those feathered emissaries of the sky, symbols of freedom, of fleeting beauty. In mythology, they carry messages from the divine, the raven of Odin, the dove of Noah, the phoenix rising from ashes. They dart through the air, unbound by earth's chains, much like thoughts flit through the mind or moments slip through fingers. To catch a bird is to capture the uncapturable, to hold the wind in one's palm. Picture this scene, in the lush groves of Arcadia. A young philosopher, let us call him Eudoxus, sits beneath an olive tree, pondering the nature of time. He watches birds wheel overhead, their songs a melody of nowness. Time, he muses, is like these birds, always in motion, impossible to grasp whole. An old sage approaches, staff in hand, and says, "If you wish to master time, become a bird catcher." Eudoxus laughs at first, thinking it a jest. But the sage persists. The bird catcher does not chase with brute force. He observes, he waits, he crafts nets of patience. He studies the habits of his quarry, their flights at dawn, their roosts at dusk. So too must you with time. This, my friends, is the first lesson, observation as the foundation of mastery. To build a time machine, one must first learn to see time's patterns, its migrations. Birds migrate with the seasons, returning again to familiar lands. Time, too, has its cycles, the diurnal rhythm of sun and moon, the annual wheel of solstices, the generational echo of birth and death. The bird catcher maps these, anticipates them. In our modern parlance, think of the historian who combs archives, netting fragments of the past, or the futurist who predicts trends, snaring possibilities before they flee. But let us delve deeper into the metaphor. Becoming a bird catcher implies transformation, a shedding of one's former self. No longer the passive observer, but the active participant. In Eastern philosophies, like those of Lao Tzu, the sage aligns with the Tao, flowing like water, yet here the fragment urges action, become. It is an imperative, a call to metamorphosis. Consider the shamanic traditions, where the initiate dons animal skins to embody the spirit. To catch birds, one must think like a bird, feel the uplift of wings, the pull of thermals. So with time, to traverse it, one must embody its essence, fluid, elusive, yet patterned. Narrative interlude. Once, in the misty highlands of Scotland, there lived a recluse named Malcolm, haunted by the loss of his beloved in a tragic storm. He obsessed over inventing a device to revisit that fateful night, to warn her, to alter fate. He toiled in his workshop, forging metals and consulting grimoires. But exhaustion claimed him, and in a dream, a voice spoke, again. If you want to build a time machine, first, become a bird catcher. Awakening, Malcolm ventured into the moors, learning the ways of the falconer. He trained hawks, not to kill, but to commune. In time, he realized the birds taught him presence. A hawk's dive is pure now, unburdened by yesterday's hunts or tomorrow's famines. Malcolm's time machine became his memory, refined through mindfulness, allowing him to travel by reliving without regret. This brings us to the psychological dimension. Freud, that explorer of the unconscious, spoke of time as distorted in dreams, past, present, future collapsing like a house of cards. The bird catcher, in this light, is the analyst, netting repressed memories like elusive sparrows. To build a time machine is to heal the psyche, to catch the birds of trauma and set them free, or perhaps to harness them for flight into new realms. Yet, beware the perils. The fragment warns implicitly, not all birds are easily caught. Some are raptors, fierce and untamed, like the vultures of forgotten atrocities. In history's ledger, think of those who sought to catch time through tyranny. Hitler dreaming of a 1,000-year Reich, only to be devoured by time's inexorable march. The true bird catcher knows humility. He releases what he catches, for possession destroys the essence. Time cannot be owned. It can only be navigated. expanding the narrative in the bustling markets of Renaissance Florence. A polymath like Leonardo da Vinci sketches flying machines inspired by birds. He is the birdcatcher incarnate, observing avian anatomy, dissecting wings to understand lift. His time machine is art, preserving moments in amber, the Mona Lisa's smile, eternal yet enigmatic. Leonardo teaches us that creativity is the bridge across temporal chasms. By catching ideas, like birds on the wing, we construct vessels to revisit inspirations. Philosophically, this fragment echoes Bergson's concept of durée, intuitive time versus mechanical clock time. The birdcatcher intuits the flow, doesn't measure it with ticks and tocks. To build a machine, one must transcend machinery, embrace the organic. Let us consider ethics. If one becomes a birdcatcher, mastering time's aviary, what responsibilities arise? In science fiction, time travelers grapple with paradoxes. Step on a butterfly, alter history. The fragment suggests preparation. By catching birds, one learns gentleness, lest the fragile creature perish in grasp. So too with time, meddle carelessly, and the fabric unravels. Another tale, in the shadow of the Himalayas, a monk named Tenzin meditates on impermanence. Villagers seek his counsel on reversing misfortunes. Build a time machine? He chuckles. First, become a bird catcher. He sends them to the cliffs, where eagles soar. They learn patience, the art of the snare that doesn't harm. Returning, they find their machine in karma's wheel, actions echoing through time, caught and redirected. Sociologically, birds represent society's fleeting trends, memes flitting like starlings in murmuration. The birdcatcher is the cultural anthropologist, netting patterns to predict shifts. In our digital age, social media is an aviary of ideas. To time travel is to archive, to foresee virality. Ecologically, birds are harbingers of change, canaries in coal mines. Catching them metaphorically means heeding environmental warnings, building a sustainable time machine for future generations. Spiritually, birds symbolize the soul's ascent. In Plato's allegory, the philosopher escapes the cave, catching glimpses of the forms like birds in sunlight. Time's machine is enlightenment, transcending temporal illusions. As we near the end, though words flow like time, endless, let us synthesize. The fragment is a blueprint, again for recurrence. If you want for desire, build a time machine for ambition. First, become a birdcatcher for method. It is poetry disguised as instruction, urging us to poeticize our lives. In closing, my pupils, heed this: time is not built, it is lived. Become the catcher, observant, patient, transformed, and the machine reveals itself as your very being. Again, I say, embark on this quest. The bird awaits,